How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. My name is Seth, and today on the pod, we're going to be talking with Natasha van der Merwe. She is a South African-born professional athlete in several respects. She has a history in being a pro tennis player, a pro triathlete, pro tennis coach, and triathlete coach. She has a business called NVDM Coaching. I would be shocked if you haven't heard of it yet. I'll make sure to link that in the show notes, so make sure to go check it out. And she's also involved with Raw Endurance, I believe, as the director of endurance. And I'm sure you guys have seen that brand around here the past couple of years as well. So Natasha is an amazing person. She's a mother. She is obviously an athletic person, entrepreneur, so many things we have in common, and really appreciated getting the opportunity to dive in deep with her and learning how much we truly did have in common. I don't know if I've said that 5 times now, but if I have, so sorry. But thank you guys so much for being here. Check out the show notes if you want to get connected with her and her team, if you're looking for coaching services in any way. And yeah, check out the show notes for other ways you can get involved with supporting this podcast. If you are listening anywhere that does review, allows you to leave comments, turn on notification bells, subscribe, follow, all those things, please make sure to do that. It continues to help to grow this little old podcast. So thank you guys so much for being here. Yeah, really appreciate it. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to Natasha van der Merwe. Well, Natasha, thank you so much for making the time. I know I've been after you for a while, and you have so graciously made some time in your schedule for me, so I really appreciate it. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for being patient with me. I know this is like a year and a half in the making or something.
It's all good. No, I appreciate it. The ones that mean the most are ones that I have to kind of fight for a little bit. So high expectations and looking forward to it. But yeah, I do really appreciate you.
No, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah. So you're home right now?
I am, yeah. So my office is in my house. I usually move around a little bit depending on my mood for the day. And every now and again, I'll go out to a coffee shop or work at the gym. But just kind of depends on where my rhythm is right now. Getting a lot done at home and a lot of planning for next year. And so, yeah, just trying to knock it out.
Yeah, that's always been a big, like something I don't understand about myself is like you're talking about the rhythm. Like, oh, today I feel like I could work in my living room. Today it needs to be a coffee shop. Like, what do you think? Have you figured out why that is? What the rhythm determination factor is?
Yeah, just, I'm looking for productivity, right? And so sometimes at home, I'm just distracted with other little things. And in that, I need to go out. But then sometimes you're out and you need the things you need at home, be it some files that you need to access for contracts or whatever. And then as it depends in the house, it's really just like, I think it's a lighting thing. I have my office and I can open up the blinds and stuff like that and get some light in. But then it's so nice. I open up the door there and actually get some air in. And so I think it's just like, what do I need at the moment? But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm fighting for how can I make the most of every single minute I'm spending working. With that goal of getting a lot done in as little time as possible so that I have then more time for family, relationships, etc. So I'm continuously adapting my workflow for what works. And every year it changes where I understand myself and I have different pockets of time for different things because I get the most out of myself in those things. So that's where I'm at.
Your desire for productivity, is that something that has been a through line for your entire life, or is that something you have developed and shaped over time?
I mean, I've definitely shaped that over time. I think an element for sure has been part of my life. I don't think I'd be where I am today if there wasn't there from the beginning. But in how much I have to handle, if you had to ask me a couple of years ago what I'm doing today, if that was even possible, I would say, no way. Like,
really?
Too much. Yeah, that's too much. And so, but all these things kept presenting themselves in front of me. And I was like, I can do that. I can do that. And so, yeah, in that, I'm just always working on better time management in order to do it. And sure enough, I do. Because I think in the past, like the thought of something would be like, wow, that's a lot. And then I recognized that, no, you just got to do it. And as soon as I started doing it, I'm like, well, that's totally doable. And then you do the next thing and the next thing. And so I still think I could do more, to be honest. I'm always... Really? I'm in a good spot right now. It's just whether I want to or not. I kind of like, I'm fighting that.
Yeah. So what are the big buckets? Like when you think about, okay, these are the things that I'm working on, even in the short term, I guess even partially long term, but what are the big buckets of things that you are like spending time in? Obviously coaching, and what are the other
Yeah.
things?
Yeah. So I'd say what takes my time work wise is coaching and my athletes specifically. And so that's broken up between their training plans, feedback and assessment of their workouts, and then actually interaction with the athletes. So that's one. Then the other is management of the business and everything that is entailed. And I have a staff, of people that today have had multiple meetings of making sure we're all connecting and what are we doing and what's ahead that we need to prepare for. And so it's that side of the business. Outside of those meetings, it's planning. I do a lot on the back end for the business, for the coaches. So there's a lot of like right now, I'll give you an example. I'm going in and cleaning up my libraries of training peaks, and I've got hundreds of
So many
workouts.
workouts. Yeah.
And I'm going into every bucket and making it a lot more accessible, making sure there's no repetitive workouts. And that's 10 hours I've spent on that right
Yeah.
now. And then I also do like some mock planning. And so I go through all of that. And each one of those plans that I've created has taken me days. But I go in and I make small adjustments based off what I've learned of like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And so I do that refresh every year. That's a lot of hours. And then outside of that, I work for Raw Nutrition. And so we had a meeting today connecting what are we working on, what are we planning on. Okay, from there, here are my to-dos. And so I've got to list out those to-dos. I've got to make those emails, make those phone calls. And then, other relationships with sponsors, events, stuff like that, coordinating with them. Those are my work buckets right now.
Yeah. So when you come to the end of your day, what makes you feel like, okay, today was a successful day. I did well. I did good.
Yeah, there's definitely like I have a endless to-do list, and I always highlight the key to-dos that I need to do, and it's usually just 3 to 5 things. I have to do those things today, and sometimes I don't, and that's okay. I always make time for it later then, but I have built awareness in that middle of the week, Monday through Friday. What's the most important thing to me is the conversations I'm having. So the phone calls, being open for phone calls. And so if work needs to be pushed off to be available for a phone call with an athlete, that will always take priority. And I will make time for the busy computer work. And that might honestly be a Saturday morning at 4 a.m. That happens every single week.
Yeah.
I think it's just knowing I did the best I could. And then honestly, like at the end of the day, if I did mess around with my time a little bit, I just try to do better the next day.
Yeah. Would you say that you're pretty forgiving of yourself, or you give yourself a good bit of mercy or leniency on how you conduct each day? Because you're talking about,
Yeah, I'm forgiving. I used to be a lot harder on myself. Now I've done this for so long. And I think I have proof in that I'm still able to do this. I'm not letting others down. I'm not letting myself down. I have proof that I can get it done. What needs to be done.
Yeah. We're talking about what, 12 years, 10, 11 years?
Of NVDM?
Yeah.
5.
5 years. Okay. So you've been involved with endurance sport for like 10 years or so, but like NVDM
so I was
5.
Professional athlete for 13 years. And in that, I was always coaching on the side. I actually had a bike transport company that I started at the beginning of my career. So, that is how I was a tennis coach before. I was a professional tennis player, got into coaching tennis. And then I found the sport of triathlon, and I was like, okay, I really want to do this. I can't coach tennis as well. So at the time, we noted there was tri-bike transport, and there was no one else. And we're like, well, there needs to be a better way, because I was actually involved with a team that went up to Coeur d'Alene Ironman, and about 8 bikes got broken in that trip. And we're like, surely there should be another option. And so we created a trailer where we could mount every single bike separately by itself. In that, we could only take 40 bikes at a time, but we mounted by a front fork, we mounted the wheel next to it, and the business was this 30-foot trailer. I would go to the shops in Texas and then go to the designated race. And at the time, Ironman, they listed out who was all doing these races on the Ironman website. So I could go 3 months ahead of time and go, okay, here are all the Texas people. And I reached out to them on Facebook. Hey,
what a marketing plan.
And then word got out. And then we got to a point where we had 2 trailers and we were taking 100 bikes to races. And then we ended up selling after 3 years. And so, yeah, that's how I supported myself in the first couple of years in triathlon. But as racing as a pro, I would drive this trailer, I would race an Ironman, I would set up in the parking lot. And we were actually the first ones to, you know how Tri-Bike Transport did valet service, where we get your bikes? Well, we actually we decided to do that. Give us your tickets. We'll go get your bikes for you so we don't stand here till 2 a.m. in the morning waiting for you. And then we're like, okay, we should charge for that. And then sure enough, Tri-Bike started doing that. So we started that.
Yeah, wow. This hustle mentality, the entrepreneurship, is that running your blood and your family?
Yeah, I would say so. My mom is an extremely my dad, first of all, he passed away when I was 14. At the time, my mom and my dad were working for a family business, and but always worked very hard. He was always on the road as a traveling salesman. My mom was like general manager of this company, working for my grandmother, grandfather, all big parts of our lives, and they worked really hard. And then to see my mom afterwards, she worked really hard. All hours of the night. The things that she did, she ran this, it's called the Nike Junior Tour for tennis, and she had to manage the logistics for all these tennis players and teams from all over the world to arrive at this tournament at the same time. And I saw her working ridiculous hours. And then on top of that, she was doing the media and all sorts of things. So I say, and then I would help her. And I say I learned a lot of my hustle work mentality from my mom in those later years.
Yeah, that's such valuable experience to get at such a young age as well. But something not so, I guess, valuable is losing your dad at 14. I'm curious. Well, first of all, like, do you mind me asking how he passed?
Yeah, he had a heart attack. Yeah.
Wow. Unexpected?
Unexpected. I wasn't even in South Africa at the time.
Wow.
I was playing tennis. I was from the ages of like 13 to 18, I was playing tennis all over the world. I was on this junior world circuit. And I was in Asia at the time and doing very well. I was 15 at the time. And I just got a call from my mom like, hey, I think you should come home. And I had to pull out of it was the finals of doubles.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I'd found out. So we had no idea. I mean, there was no like indication of him being sick. It just happened on a work trip. So
how long do you think it took before you accepted, or not accepted, but like got through the denial stage and realized?
It was weird, man. I was really, really obviously upset for a couple months, I remember. And then I got to a point of like, I'm going to go and still and my mom tried to put me back in as much of a normal life as possible. And so she sent me off for the next tennis tournament and the next tennis tournament. And I was not the same since. I was a disaster, if I'm being honest. And so, yeah, I mean, it's so funny. The thoughts I remember of like being at Wimbledon, and because I played junior Wimbledon, and all these tournaments was just me still struggling with the loss of my dad, and just not having any confidence or any. Yeah, it felt so. I don't know. Here I'd worked all my life to be here at this big stage, and it just like don't even care anymore. So. Yeah. Honestly, after that, I then struggled. Like the fact that I'm speaking about my dad like this right now is a massive deal. I don't think I would have done that up to a year or two ago, and I'm 44.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So that's the impact.
What happened?
What do you mean? I didn't know.
Why did you what happened? What changed?
I think some conversation was had, and I was able to speak about him and not break down in tears. I was like, oh. And then I actually in me speaking about him, I felt like, okay, I honored him and his role in my life versus like not speaking about it at all. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I'm okay with this. I'm now, it's enough time has passed. And yeah. And here we are. So if the question comes up, I can take it. In the past, I was like, can't talk about it. Yeah. Sorry.
No. Well, I have some more questions. So I think but my dad passed away when I was 16. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah, so my dad passed away when I was 16. I have 2 younger sisters. So my sisters were 12 and 4 at the time. It was very hard for me, I will say. Going through puberty, whatever, just trying to figure out what it means to be a man with the absence of a father. There was complexity there because he actually took his own life. So it was this whole other set of baggage. But not to talk about me, but what was most apparent to me as I've gotten older now. So I'm 33. My sisters are, early 20s and going to be 30 soon. Watching two of his daughters grow up without dads at very crucial parts in their lives was like, I just realized that is one of, I don't know if there's a harder thing that a girl could grow up with other than with the absence of a father. It just was so apparent to me, like it's hard for me, but I feel like it's harder for them. So what was the hardest part of growing up without that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you will relate and just like you think of all the things that you do. And I mean, the fact that he's missing it, you're missing him being a part of it.
Yeah.
These pivotal life moments. And then I definitely think for him to see what I'm doing now, I just know like how proud he would be, you know? And man, imagine if he was a part of this right now.
Yeah.
I just think that'd be, Now, no more questions. You gotta stop.
If you cry, it's okay, Natasha. I cry on this podcast. It's happened.
Yeah, don't want to go there.
Yeah. Well, I won't ask any more specific questions than about that, but I guess I just want to say, like, it is really cool to know that you have come to a place where you can talk about it. Being at 44, because I can see just from talking to you for 15 minutes and some of the stuff that you put out there, but the tenacity and the drive forward, like I would say that there's probably a piece of that experience that is motivated, or your life is motivated by missing dad. What do you think? No?
No, not that I've ever been aware of before.
Yeah.
Now contemplated for sure, but
yeah,
I don't think so. I think there's other things that have been motivated by the missing of my dad, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think my work ethic is one of them.
Yeah. You're kind of born with that. And did you have chores when you were a kid? Like you had to do this, do that around the house? Like,
yeah, not really. We actually grew up in South Africa, and where it was common that we had help around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do anything. But I did go off to boarding school when I was 12. And in that, you learned a lot of discipline, for sure.
No kidding.
We were in uniforms. We had to stand up anytime someone came in the door. We had to stand back. Anytime we come to a door, and I still do this today, I look back, and if there's anyone older than me in eye shot, I will wait for them. And it's the weirdest thing because I'll even wait for guys to walk through because I'm like, older, you're going first. I just wait. And then, just kind of this respect mentality through everything, and I still hold it. And then, we had to, 12 years old, understand cleanliness. You're sharing a room with someone else, making your bed like that routinely got checked, showing your homework, lights out at this time. So, I think that was built into me at a young age.
Yeah, no kidding. Did your parents also go to boarding school as children, or why did they decide to send you?
Yeah, not my mom. My dad did. The reason I went is I actually grew up in a very small town. It's called Kimberley in South Africa. And I had outgrown, I was already at 12, the best tennis player in the city. And I needed to have a better tennis coach, hitting partners. We knew that was a direction that I wanted to go. I loved it. And I got a scholarship opportunity. So I had my boarding school and schooling all paid for me to go and then play for the school. And they had great coaches there. So my mom was like, you need to take that opportunity if you want to advance. And so I did that. And then I ended up moving from there to Johannesburg, which is now 6 hours away from my parents at the age of 15.
Wow.
Brought my dad. And at the time I was staying with my older sister, who's 5 years older than me. She's one of two. And she had a one-bedroom deficiency about the size of this room, and I was on a mattress next to her bed, and that's where I stayed for the first year at that age. And I learned how I was like, oh, I need to go buy myself some food. I need to get myself from here to here at 15 because she was in college and she was working, and that was my place to stay. But then I went off to school and played tennis all day. So
wow. So you have a daughter, right?
Yes.
Just one?
I have one daughter. Her name is Nadine, and I actually named her after the sister I just talked about.
Oh, cool. How old is, you said Nadine?
Nadine, she's 9 years old.
9. Do you think that you'll send Nadine through boarding school?
No.
No? Why not?
No, I want to spend as much time as I can with her, for one. I couldn't even imagine, to be honest, like to think that in 4 years' time, I'm sending her off to boarding school.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I was like, you can live with me as long as you want to. So
Yeah.
she's such a joy. But yeah, I mean, obviously you do the best you can for your child and what their needs are at the
Yeah.
time. If something comes up that it requires that, and that's in what she wants and in her best interest, well, then you've got to consider it for sure.
Yeah. So you're married?
No. So
Okay.
I actually, yeah, I guess first time public information. I'm thinking people have guessed it by now, but I actually went through a divorce, and which was finalized earlier this year. And a big
Oh,
why I kept on pushing off our call, by the way.
oh. Well, how are you doing?
Doing good. Yeah, we're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, who do you, with your daughter, if I can ask this question, who do you see more in her, you or her father?
I mean, I feel me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that a lot from other people as well.
Yeah.
So I
Sh-
would
sh-
say probably me.
Is she showing the entrepreneurial bug?
Yeah, so it's so funny. I took her to Nashville for a wedding and we're just walking along talking. And she says, you know what, Mom? I'm going to start a babysitting company.
Let's go.
I'm going to call it,
That's
I'm going to
awesome.
call it NW Babysitting, which is her initials and my initials.
Yeah.
She said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire a bunch of babysitters who are going to work for me and they're going to do the work and I'm going to get the percentage off the top. And this is an 8-year-old conversation.
She's been listening to your conversations.
We haven't had this conversation. She's just watching.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm going to get the percentage off the top and then I'll send them off and they go work. And she says, I'm going to run the business. And then outside of that, she has expressed interest of like, I want to do what you want to do. You know, I think a lot of the times when it's time to like dress up or be someone at school or she kind of mirrors like what I'm doing and
Yeah.
expresses wanting to do it as well.
Are you a good mom?
I would think so. I did struggle with that question for a very long time, actually, where I always felt like I could be better. You know, you think about the things of showing up well for a mom, and I always struggle with how much I work and how much I travel. And still to a degree, at some point now, but I've definitely, I think, let that go this year. And I just felt like I was taking away from her childhood. I wasn't showing up as best I could because of that time away. But then also a lot of the times I show up, I'm tired, you know, and maybe I'm not as
Present.
intentional with the time as I want. And so I definitely like right before this, I took like a 10-minute nap, and I can do that. I can nap for 10 minutes really hard, wake up and be like, my mind's fresh
A
and ready.
true athlete. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do that a lot of the times because I know if I don't do that, I'm going to be too tired for when she gets back from school. And now I can't show up as well as I can. And so I've definitely given myself a lot of grace this year where I just, as long as in the time that I have her, because there's a little less time now, I show up the best I can. And that's by giving her as much attention as I can for that day. Not perfect. Sometimes I am massively distracted with work. I think it's just the mark of an entrepreneur. There's always something going on,
Sure.
but I literally have to be like, got to put it aside. And yeah, she's a good kid, and I think that's the result of good parenting is where she's always happy. I mean, truly always happy. She's so much fun. She's great with kids. Great with she shows up well in every area. She's full of joy, and I'm like, okay, I have shown her the way in that because I can truthfully say, for better or worse, I've never raised my voice to her or had to, you know, when they say you discipline a child, I don't think I've ever had to discipline her because she kind of knows. And it's really just a question asking is the way I approach it. Like if she's doing something, I'm like, Nadine, should we be doing that? And she's like, no. And then if she is, and that's it. Like there's no tantrum, there's no fighting, there's no nothing. And then if there is something, I think she did something the other day. And I didn't even have to say it. And she came up and she started crying and was like, I'm so sorry. You know, and I was like, it's okay. Let's talk about this. So yeah, I think proof of we're doing okay over here.
Yeah. How much of your coaching style do you think is informed by your parenting style and vice versa?
Quite a bit. Yeah. Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
Is that by choice or is it just the way you operate? Like, have you put some thought into that?
Definitely by choice at this point. I think there was a level of just you operate, and now I'm understanding fully of how I show up and what I say absolutely matters, and I have to prepare myself accordingly. So like, I'm not just going somewhere and just being, like I'm intentionally showing up a certain way. And that's, I think, with her as well. Like there is thought going into what am I going to do in this moment, in this conversation versus just responding. And that's learned, I think, through me being a professional athlete as well. I learned how to, later years, not be emotional. You you respond, you don't react, right? And so, yeah, I feel like I'm a little more thoughtful
Yeah.
in relationships and that.
If there's one thing I continue to hear echoed from parents who are ahead of me in the game, it's that kids care less about what you say and more about what you do. So it's interesting that you said showing, like an act of actual action to emulate whatever is going on. That's usually how kids pick up stuff. And it's so funny because a lot of the characteristics, mannerisms that I notice in myself, I am now to an age where I have enough self-awareness to be like, oh my goodness, that's my mother's talking through me. Like, what am I?
Yeah.
But that's how it works. And I think it's a beautiful thing. You can change some of those things for sure. But yeah, we are definitely impressions of what our parents were to a large degree.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it just starts with self-awareness.
Yeah.
Are you ready to, be self-aware, and then do you want to make the change?
Yeah.
Um,
So I have so many questions for you. I'm trying to arrange them in my head, but the first one I have to ask before I forget is your last name. Is it Merwe? How do you say the whole?
So correctly, it's Vandermava.
Vandermava. It sounds
Yeah.
German. That's South African?
South African.
Okay.
Yeah. Vandermava. Yeah. We here in the States, I'll say Vandermava.
Move.
A little easier.
Okay. Like the V, the W is like a V.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, thanks. Now I know how to say it whenever I do the intro, outro. How old were you when you quit tennis?
20-ish.
Okay. And you started playing tennis when you were what, 7, 8?
Yeah.
5?
6, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. Where's this?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So that's a long time, but you know, your dad passed away when you were 15. So really, it's kind of like 50% of your career-ish was pre-dad, post-dad.
Yeah.
How did that affect the dream for you to like, I would assume if you're doing Wimbledon juniors, like you wanted to be the best and you were doing quite well. So how did that affect your dream? Did that slowly start to kill it, or did it not affect it? What do you think?
Yeah, unintentionally killed it. So, yeah, I just struggled. I really did through my late teens and 20s. Yeah. And so, yeah, I just think like everything was kind of building up until that point. That the tournaments that I did in Asia, I pretty much won every single one of them. And then I couldn't win anything after that. I was just a mess. I really was.
Yeah. Just like when you get up there, okay, I'm serving, like it's just you're overthinking, you can't get into a flow state. Like what really is happening?
Yeah. I mean, I did the number of games that I was like, honestly, like 6-love, 5-love up, like should easily just close it out, and then I would just freeze. And I can't say that was directly then my dad, but I mean, there was just a lot of things on the outside as well. Yeah. And then those people went on to be like top 30 in the world professional tennis player, you know? So, and I knew that. I knew that capability, and then I'd keep letting myself down. And then more and more, I just had that action would then lead my mindset of like, well, you can't do this. And so yeah, just kind of let it go from there.
Yeah. Well, then you started doing triathlon, I guess, after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, only when I was 27. So I went
Just a few
from
years.
playing to coaching to then triathlon, picking up triathlon at 27. Yeah.
Was there a rebirth in your confidence during that time? Because if you're going on to be a professional, or did you still struggle in the same way? You just had enough genetics and base to like carry yourself through to be fast.
Yeah, no, I think if I was struggling, which I did, it wasn't because of that. I'll tell you that. Separate. Yeah, I mean, I played every single sport growing up. And so I was just very talented to where I swam a little bit when growing up. With cycling, I felt like all the strength from the tennis and the strength work I did carried over to the bike. We ran. So I had success pretty quickly. And then there was definitely a goal of like, I've messed up. my tennis career. Let me see if I can do this again in triathlon and actually live up to my potential. But I had so many things I had to work through. I mean, one of them just being like, I had this constant body, like you hear from female athletes all the time, body image issues, and constantly underfueling myself, never thinking I was lean enough, fit enough to compete. There was obviously this massive comparison cycle going on. Yeah, and that hurt me big time because I was always tired. I was always injured, just never able to train up to my potential. And then there was just like a lot, I was emotionally not where I am now. I'm not even comparable from the person in my 20s, early 30s to where I am now. The two don't recognize each other. So, yeah. And that didn't bode well for trying to be a good professional triathlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The body dysmorphia, like the eating disorder type of a thing, what came about where you realized, okay, this is a problem, I should probably address it?
I knew I had it all along. I didn't have the tools, the capability to fix it. I think at some point it was actually, I think I only fixed it when I had my daughter, to be honest. Gained all this weight, had her, and it was time I worked with a nutritionist to lose the weight. And I got in the best shape of my life after the fact. And really, she just taught me how to fuel full performance. And what we found, I'd never tracked my food before. And what we found was like I was massively under eating and my body was holding on because of it. And as soon as I started eating way more, which is very scary at first, my body just leaned down.
Yeah, just like soaked it all up.
Yeah. I was like, and then I felt amazing. Like so my best years came after I had my daughter because I always had energy. I was recovering well. I could train a lot more. And at that time, I mean, it turned from like, I'm not even going to look at the scale anymore. Whatever I'm going to eat is, well, how is that going to benefit me for my session and recover me from my session? The focus was performance. The focus wasn't body composition at all. And I just had this switch at that time.
I'm so curious because this fascinates me, and I've never truly gone through like the transformations you're talking about. But from when you were under eating, were you constantly hungry? Like, did you have hunger more and you just like pushed yourself to not eat, or that was it? Like, that's what it feels like? Yeah.
And I would see results too in that I would lean down, but then all of a sudden I would then binge eat because I had this opportunity to. And so that was my cycle. I would eat almost nothing, and then I'd be really, really hungry and I'd eat as much as I could. Okay, let me eat some more because this is the one day I'm doing that. And then the next day I'd be like, okay, no more food.
Yeah.
And I would be hungry. Yeah. And I'd just be like, well, no, the goal is you need to, lean down. So
yeah. Would you say that it's fair to say after you started working with a nutritionist, did you eat until you were full, or did you have to, even with your training load, extend beyond what was full, like the feeling of full?
No. Yeah. No, I never ever ate beyond what I thought was full. If anything, like before I would overeat, like to the point of being full. Now I never eat to the point of being full. Like I just feel like I just eat enough, fully balanced. Like my diet today is like, okay, I need this amount. I'm going to eat. And even if I'm full and there's a little bit left on the plate, I'm full. Yeah. I would never do that in the past. Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh man, I really feel like something sweet. Well, I can go and I can grab and I'll have like a small cookie or whatever. Fine. Do that every day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it's like, oh, if you're going to eat a cookie, we might as well eat 15 because that's the limit.
Yeah.
That was me. So now it's just complete like balanced approach of like, how am I feeling and just eating intuitively.
Yeah. It's interesting, this whole topic of food, especially with like American food. I think because things are literally engineered to be put on the shelf to be addicting. When you eat whole foods, like this has been in my experience, when I eat whole foods and things that I actually cook, like whole-based ingredients and stuff, I will be eating, and then you'll get to a place where it like doesn't even taste good anymore, even though it tasted amazing 10 minutes ago. But now it's like it doesn't really hit it. But a lot of these processed foods, they never get to a place really where it's like, I no longer want the taste of this. It's like you keep going for it. And I feel like the system is so gamed against people who aren't exercising a lot every day. Because like I feel like the taste buds, the overspiced whatever it's just such an interesting field.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on this conversation if we want too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's crazy. So let me ask you this question. You have done a lot. You have quite a level of self-awareness. You're an entrepreneur, you're a mother, coach, business owner. From your perspective, though, who is Natasha?
I hear you ask this question all the time, by the way. I just should have prepared myself.
No one
Um,
does, and that's okay.
yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, I just think to myself as far as like, um, what do I strive to be every single day, right? And I really, obviously, we haven't even touched on my faith, but truly, that's like the beacon or the from who I am and me. And so I wake up every day, and I think like yourself, like you're a child of God,
Mm-hmm.
number one. And I look at my business, and I say, well, this is the what's the word? No, I can't think of it. But essentially, God has given me this business. How am I going to steward? How am I going to steward this business the best I can? What does that require of me? As far as stewarding, it's how I show up with relationships within the business. Am I doing well by the resources of our businesses, by the athletes? What kind of impact am I making from that standpoint? And then that carries over into my personal life as well, and try to do the best I can there. And I think, what does the Christian life really stand for? It's a life where you're supposed to love other people.
Mm.
And so that's kind of my mission, is that I love other people through, in my business, the sport of triathlon and our business. And they're coming into something where they're receiving support for a big goal of theirs, that I feel is something that motivates them to push for something that's bigger, maybe, than
Yeah.
what they might work with someone else. So I don't know if that's a question you answered, but yeah, I mean, Christian, mother, everything that I do is driven through like what has God made me here to do, and that's it. And also I am equally can pivot if I feel like God is calling me to in different directions. Like right now, one of me is the business and my daughter, but I'm always open to if He's calling me into something slightly different to use my talents. But right now, this is where we are.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. So let me ask you this question. When you have the opportunity to walk into the throne room and you have the opportunity to see God for the first time, assuming you haven't already seen Him,
Yeah.
what do you hope that He would say to you? Or what would be like the most meaningful thing you could hear from Him?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. I think the first thing that came to mind was, well done, good and faithful servant, right?
Same.
I think all
Yeah.
of us would say the same. So yeah, I think that's really it. Is like, did I use my time on earth well for what He made me for?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. And then this, it's so funny. I'm just going to speak to what my mind goes to. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you can rest now. So,
Mm.
because I think that's a longing, and it's like every day I push forwards. And I really do live on this mindset of like, I am only going to do what God has given me the strength to do. That's a lot, but He's given us 24 hours in a day with 8 hours of rest in between. So I have to understand that tomorrow is a new day. And even though I'm completely wiped out from today and what it's asked of me, I will be fresh again tomorrow. And I can tell you, most nights I go to bed going, how am I going to do this again tomorrow? Like,
Yeah.
seriously. Sure enough, I wake up the next day, I'm like, let's go, you know? But in that, I'm like, yeah, at some point I'll just to be able to rest in His kingdom and not have to strive for anything, even though I'm not striving for people, or He tells us not to strive, just to be. That's one thing that I've always struggled with my entire life as well. It's a Christian song will come up. I was just at Upper Room in Dallas. You know that church? It's a very well-known church that has great music, great pastors, amazing sermons.
Yeah. Think I've seen some stuff on Instagram, but I'm not super familiar with them.
Yeah, I listen to their sermons all the time, multiple times a day, actually, while I'm driving, while I'm cooking and doing that. And I just love having it on the background. But they had a song that came on, and it was about stop striving, and it always brings me to tears because I'm like, yes, you got to stop striving. Like, just,
Are you afraid to slow down?
No, no, I'm not. But I think that what's in front of me right now is not to slow down, you know, like God continues to put so many opportunities in front
Mm,
of me. Like, again, if I couldn't handle it, he wouldn't put that in front of me. So
yeah.
I've got to go.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I think of that verse that says, "Man, I wish I could quote exactly where it's from, but the harvest is great and the laborers are few." Like that kind of situation. I think that
yeah,
God really does bless those who show like that in the little things that they honor Him or honor kindness and love above all else, and then there are so many opportunities, and it can be difficult, honestly, in the best way to know, well, which opportunities should I go after? And because of this whole thing with free will, the thing that I've struggled with the most has been like, well, what things do I actually say yes to? And I'm like, God, just, tell me which ones exactly. Could you give me a little checklist and then I'll do those things? And that's not how it works, because the free will aspect, like, that's what makes the relationship, I think, with God so unlike anything else. Because even in my human relationships, even in my own marriage at times, like, it becomes like this, oh, I want you to do this. And if you love me, you will do this. And there is an element of that, I think, but in an imperfect human to human, it does not work the same way. So yeah, it's interesting how that all works. But
I want to say something to that because it's this
please.
big epiphany that I've just had.
Mm,
And it's, we have free will to choose what we're going to do. However, there's scripture on it that God will make those paths straight. So we make the wrong choice. I'm fully trusting that God is going to come in and make that choice to what he designed it to be. And that takes the pressure off my choices.
mm,
And I have seen it play out in my life many times where I'm like, man, that was a bad idea, but wow, look at the blessings that actually came out of
yeah.
what was probably really bad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, all things work together for those who love God. I really do believe that, because I've made some really stinkers myself. Or another example, like losing my dad in the way I did, I would never say like, "Oh, I'm happy that that happened," but in a strange kind of a way, like I can be thankful for a lot of the outcomes of those things. Just yeah, a lot of people who go through a hardship like that don't make it through in a healthy way, and to be able to look back and say like, "Wow, yeah, like." God brought me through. These people were in my life, or I had the community of triathlon, or coaching, or tennis, or whatever it is. There's so much to be thankful for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So on your Instagram, you do have Colossians 3:23 through 24. I'm going to read it really quick, and then I have a question about it. So it says, "Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that the master you are serving is Christ." So my question to you is, first of all, I love that verse. I think it's beautiful. How does it influence the way that you balance ambition and faith? Because you seemed like a very ambitious person, and if you were my competitor, I would have to be very much on my toes. So how do you balance ambition with faith?
Yeah, I mean, I don't consider it ambition, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm not striving for things of this world that you would say ambition is driving you towards.
you could say that.
Why
Yeah.
I love that verse so much is it's really what brought me to Christ. So you know how people decide to make a leap of faith and say, I'm going to put my trust in God and accept Jesus is because of this negative thing that happened and this happened. Well, for me, I had so much anxiety around people pleasing.
Mm,
It brought me to like crippling pain. Like I had pain in my chest. I had anxiety. And then I
wow.
also had like this, is this what life is about? Is going and working for this person and making them happy. And you can't make all people happy. And so that was actually my turning point when I was 26. And so, yeah, I
Wow.
really just do consider that whatever I am doing, it is for the Lord. It's not for anybody else. And in that, it's what does he want me to do? And so my ambition is driven by, I feel like this is God has placed this on my heart to steward, and that's it. So, and then
Mm,
whatever the results are, it's like, okay, now what do I do with this? How is it going to push his kingdom forwards?
yeah.
And the next decision is made.
Mm. Do you feel like you've made it, or are you still chasing a mountain? Like, do you feel like, okay, I'm a successful person. I'm here.
I don't think I even consider that, to be honest,
Yeah.
like at all. Yeah, I really just live for the day that I'm in. And it's so funny because most would look at my life and say, yeah, she's made it, look at the career she's made and she's living her dream. Great. But I don't consider it. I'm very blessed. I feel like very, very fortunate. This is a life I get to live. Absolutely. But me making it is, am I doing the best I can with this day? That's all I'm really focused on. So I have no focus of the future. Probably should. How everyone has like a 5-year, 10-year plan. Like I have no concept, because who knows where God's going to take me. Like there might be something, I've had so much prophecy over me about teaching, which I teach now, but is it going to be teaching his word in a bigger way, And if he takes me down that path and opens those doors, well, that might be my path in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
And then you would say, well, this wasn't on the path at all. So you weren't a success, but that was the end goal, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. Would you say as a whole, our sport of triathlon is filled with more believers or none? Because you know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
It's interesting because I always look at my team, right? And the pool of my team. I'm outwardly a believer. And what does that attract? It attracts believers. So in our team, we are mostly believers. As a whole, I feel like it's definitely something more people are speaking about. It was definitely taboo before, even for me, right? I had to gain a lot of confidence to say, I'm going to speak about this for sure. I don't know. I would say 50-50, but I'd like to think it's like 70-30 now, like 70 believers, 30% not, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting. I don't know if there's an accurate way to measure that, because declared versus action driven, it's like, it's different. It is different. Because I think it's interesting because our culture is in the world, at least in the popular culture that I'm involved in. I can't speak for all of the Middle East or all of Asia because I don't have my hand or pulse in that. But there seems to be a large swing back toward traditional values, which a lot of those, especially in America, like kind of lean in the Christian way. And I'm wondering how that's going to affect just how we conduct ourselves as a society and the things we deem right and wrong. And, it's been interesting to me to watch that shift happen.
Yeah. 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 I have nothing else to comment on that.
Is there something you want to comment or you're afraid to comment on?
No, there's nothing else. Yeah. If honest, like my mind went blank there for a second.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you mentioned your coaches. You have, I think I counted 23. And do you say NVDM Coaching or do you? Okay. That's how you say it. What's the hardest part about running a coaching outfit of that size?
If you asked me a year or two ago, I would say the people, like the management of the people, but it's not anymore. I feel like we've learned through the 5 years to communicate better, to have a better structured organization. Because look, at the end of the day, if there's any dysfunction down here, and when I say down here, it's like my coaches, it starts with me. I'm not leading them correctly. And then the team that's supported around me that's also working to manage these athletes, it's me not communicating correctly to them. So it's me. So I feel like I've grown into a better leader. I don't think I was one from the onset. It was kind of like this thing started and now all these people are working for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And I had to learn through that process. And I didn't have a lot of confidence in that process either. Like I was put in this position, but I'm not skilled to be in this position. And through action and through time, I'm like, oh, no, I am. Like I can do this. And so, yeah, I think we're in a place now where we are kind of in a sweet spot. Like things happen, we handle them, conversation is had, what's the next step? And I do so without fear. So whereas before I'd be fearful of making the wrong step. What does this mean for the business? And I feel like there's enough 5 years of proof now that no matter what happens, like we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And the next step will be taken. So yeah, I mean, if anything, it's just like I work a lot. So I'm handing off as much as I can, sure enough, and the business would not run without my team. I'll tell you that much. Everything that can be handed off has been handed off, and they do so with full trust. I almost don't have to speak to them. They know their roles, which is incredible, right? It took us a little while to get there, but because of me, not because of them. They were willing from the beginning. And but with that, more has come on. And now I'm like, okay, how do I delegate the next thing? So it's like the art of delegation and entrusting and teaching, because there's a process, right? If I'm going to delegate, well, now I'm committing to telling you how to do it well. That takes time. Sometimes you're like, I'll just do it. So I just have to do more of that, because at the end of the day, it's like, this has to be scalable. It has to be this long-term vision. Otherwise, what we're doing right now makes no sense. And that's how we've always operated, and how I've put back into the company is like, with that long-term vision.
Yeah. What part of leading this group, this people, gives you the most joy?
I love the fact that I essentially am responsible for 23 jobs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that is a big on my shoulder, but what a gift that is. I'm like, wow, that's what I'm getting to do. And I take that very seriously. And so something like I have with them is like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? What do you need to make for your family? Okay, let's get there. I really enjoy that. Like, I still do payroll. I'm a part of, I don't need to be, but I'm still a part of payroll to go, oh my gosh, I just put out X amount for payroll this week. That's crazy. So that's kind of fun. And then, the first answer should have gone there first, the relationships. They truly have become like family. Mike, who's my COO, he's been with me from the very beginning. We've had some little bit, not much. I can probably say 2 or 3, but we will be straight away, that hurt my feelings. And I think we should address this differently. I'm like, okay, no, you're right. And so we have that conversation. I appreciate it. And that 10 minutes later, we're as if nothing happened because we've moved forwards. And those are pretty incredible relationships to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine there's quite a bit of joy that comes from the ability to have conflict resolution in a good way, because that's an art and a skill that takes a lot of trips around the sun, I think, to start to figure out. Are you comfortable with confrontation nowadays? I guess it kind of sounds like you are.
I am. Yeah, I'm very I address things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I feel like I always address it fairly, and so I have confidence in those meetings.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I am always quick to listen in that. If they feel differently, because I have to understand their side of it, I'm going to fully hear it out, consider it, and then try to make the best decision moving forward. So I think, again, it's proof of results of what's happened in the last 5 years, gives me then the confidence of where I am now and how I'm going to move forwards.
Do you feel like you've made or had to make any sacrifices that you might regret one day?
Definitely the time with my daughter.
Yeah.
That's
kind of said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. And that's my hope and desire is that she gets to see that I'm living out my dream of impacting a lot of people. That brings them a lot of joy, and that should be something she desires for herself as well. So it's not like I'm in a job that I don't enjoy. Like, I love it. It just takes a lot of me. And hopefully through that action and seeing that will be a good influence on her.
Yeah. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, her favorite thing, I always ask her what her favorite thing is, and it's just purely spending time with me. And so the fact that it's taking away from that, it's just like,
Yes. Do you feel like your mom's proud of what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does she say it? No.
Is that a South African thing?
I think it's my mom thing, if I'm being honest. Yeah. So it's so funny. Like, she won't say it too much to my face. Every now and again, I'm like, oh, thank you. I can count on less than one hand, by the way. But when she's speaking to someone else and I will happen upon that conversation, it comes out beaming pride, and I'm like, okay, like, she just doesn't say it to me, but that's it.
Yeah. Do you think that you are similar in your interactions with your own daughter, or
No.
you try to? She's gonna know you are so proud. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my mom's mothering style of me and mine of my daughters is
quite a bit different.
Like my dad, and my mom is my mom. Definitely
Yeah.
I've never, like, if you think of all the things you could get into, where smoking and drugs and all, like, no. I saw the wrath of my mom on my older sisters. Like, I will never want to be on. So, and she's, I make it sound worse than it is, but you definitely yeah, you don't mess around.
Yeah. What do your older sisters do now?
So my middle sister is a tennis coach. She's
Okay.
very, very good.
Cool.
And my older sister works for, she's like in accounting, so CFO type role.
Nice. All daughters.
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
you go for it?
No, yeah. And they're they're half sisters. So they have a
Okay.
different dad. I was my dad's only child.
Oh, wow. How many years are you guys separated by?
7 and 5.
7 and 5. Yeah. That's a good chunk.
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I came on, and yeah, there was
Yeah.
a different split, definite split to where I was definitely kind of doing my own thing.
Yeah. Did you ever wish you had a brother?
No.
Yeah. You don't know what you were missing. That's all it is.
Yeah. My middle sister, we were tomboys growing up. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah. I
so
bet.
I felt like I had a brother.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. So this is a question I've been holding on to for a while. I don't think there's any good way to like jump back into it because we kind of moved away from it a little bit. But when I was asking questions about your dad, like, there was a little emotion that started to come through. My question is, are you afraid of the emotions that make you sad? Or why do you not like them? Or why don't you want to share?
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I can definitely tell you that when I am with people and I present myself, there is a certain level of a person that I feel like I should present as. And in that, there is a shield around me that only so many get to see, that other side of me. And I feel like that level of vulnerability and emotion is, is just not something that I put out to the world easily. And I think it's a level of level of respect. Maybe I'm in this position that I can't look like I don't have it together, kind of thing.
As a
So
leader.
I stop myself from that. However, I have found in this last year, with everything that I've been through, the benefit of actually opening up and how it deepens relationships. And so this year I have been more open about my personal life than I ever have. Usually it was closed door. And through that, I've now have the closest of friends that I've ever had in my entire life of 44 years of living.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's it. I think, I just feel like there's only so much emotion one should show in the position that I'm in.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is fair. I found myself also adapting similar, I don't know if you'd call them strategies or tactics or ways of operating in a position of leadership, especially because I've had people who have worked for me that I'm related to. So it's like, well, during Thanksgiving, we're this person, but then when we're working, it's like totally different. One of them is actually my mom. So like figuring out how that dynamic, but it's interesting. I'm just kind of sharing freely a little bit, but it's one of the greatest things I think that happened that enriched the relationship with my mother, because I felt like she really respected me for the first time in a meaningful way when I was like in a position of leadership. And that felt really good because there's other things that I can still go to her for to seek wisdom. But to know that she can like look up to me a little bit, like that's a pretty special thing. So I can understand. Yeah. And I've only been talking to you for 57 minutes. So, I'm trying to crack you open, but I mean, I really respect that. Like to like you mentioned, respect being a factor of like who you choose to open up with about, and you only have so many people that you can do that with, and I think that's really important. A lot of people don't know how to do that or regulate that, and that's a super important skill. I feel like that I'm still mastering.
I agree.
Yeah. Do you spend more time in your head or your heart?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned it was a realization I had this year, where I'd have an event that I'm going to, and I knew who would be there. And in my mind, I would practice, and this is the intentionality that I go into these times with people. What questions am I going to ask? What then questions am I going to ask if they answer this way or this way? To make sure that there's always conversation that is being had and interest being shown, because I'll get in a room with someone and they will talk. I can get them to talk about themselves for an hour, nonstop, but I've prepared that. Trying to let that go a little bit, to leave room, and also it's, I read somewhere, and I think it was maybe a daily devotional about just taking too much control away from God, and by doing stuff like that. And so for me, it's like, well, it's part of business. But yeah, I'm trying to just more be. With that being said, that's the head side of it. There is the heart side of it, and I am someone that wears their heart on their sleeve, in a sense. Again, I've learned to control that, so only some people see it. But it's there. Like, I'm definitely, as much as I have life things happen to me, and I should definitely have a vault around me and my heart, at this point, I somehow don't. And I think it's knowing my part is that I have the ability to love freely, give freely, and only so many people can do that, and how wonderful it is to receive that. Why would I not do that?
Yeah.
And so I've just made the decision that that's what I'm going to do, even though it hurts me most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and has hurt me many times. So,
yeah, radical vulnerability is a pretty radical thing. To be able to do that with anybody, because it opens you up to be hurt greatly, but it also opens us up, I think, to be loved greatly. Because something I figured out in the past couple of years after going to this just 3-day weekend that focused a lot on this one concept, and that was how to accept affirmation. Because if you don't, and you can't be loved, if you don't allow yourself to be loved, then how in the world are you going to pour that out into someone else? And that's a hard thing to do, because oftentimes whenever people be like, oh, Seth, you're so this or that, and, these positive compliments, most of us are like, whatever. And the thing that like hit me between the eyes was they had us write down all of our inner critic voices, say them out loud to ourselves for like 3 minutes. And then the music stopped as we were saying this, and they had us pull out a picture out of this envelope, and it was me as like a 7-year-old kid. And they were like, would you ever say that to a little kid like that? And I cried and I cried, because I realized, like, it made it so practical. I realized, like, oh my goodness, that's what we're all doing. We're beating up our little inner child that is still there. And isn't that crazy? Yeah. Just a couple more questions for you though. What makes a good coach different from a great coach?
Yeah, I mean, she speak about this with our coaches all the time. At the end of the day, it's the relationship you have with the athlete. And so when you think about what a good relationship is, it's really good communication. It's a lot of like true care, followed by action, right? And so it's like you have so many coaches who are so smart, they know it all, but they don't know how to either relay that to the athlete, to help them correctly. Maybe the work ethic is not there, to be honest, to where there is true care shown. The word action is there, right? So it's like as a coach, I tell athletes, like, after every single workout, we're assessing, you're asking practical questions like, okay, this went well, how do we make it better? At all times. And then you're doing that. You're following it up with, okay, let's get you a video of this form, and let's make sure the feedback is given so that we can run correctly, etc. There's so many things to it. You're always uncovering and asking different questions to make this athlete better. And so yeah, I think it's work, but I think above all, it's a relationship. And I think why I have athletes that have been with me for 10, 12 years is because we've become so close as friends. And that just requires you to show up in a different way. You're not just a coach giving a workout plan. Like, you truly you're showing up as a friend who cares, and then working accordingly. Yeah.
Great stuff. So my final question for you is a total selfish one, because you're ahead of me and you have a 9-year-old. How can I prepare? What makes a good dad, do you think?
Two things. So in the beginning, it's hard for the dad because you haven't given birth to this baby, and most of the things that your wife is going to do, like, she has to do. So I think your role in the beginning is, how do you best support your wife at the end of the day? Because there's only so much you can do, and being okay with that. right? And then that role will change, and you will be looked at, and you think of all the characteristics of a man to his wife, but now you're giving that to your child as far as like stability and safety and care, and I think just showing up in that manner, that will probably be more important later on. I think at first we just talked about it. It's about just being present, right? For whatever that moment entails. Every time you show up, it's probably going to look a little different, but yeah, I mean, you are the head of the household, and you have to demonstrate it for your wife and for your child. And you will set the tone of how everybody shows up. You will dictate that.
Thanks for that feedback. Yeah, I have been thinking a lot about this next year because the baby's due in February. And for the past 5 years or so, I've been like, okay, it's November and December. I'm planning out all my races and what I'm going to do for this next year. And to be honest, I haven't truly figured out how this next year is going to look. I told my wife, I'm not going to race really at all. Although there's a brand new 70.3 that's coming to our hometown. So I'm going to do that one singular race. But in terms of like training schedule and timing and, you know, my wife, I feel like she feels most supported, at least historically, by just being present, like you were saying, but like actually there beside her in the moment when she's going through something. So I think there's still that, but a lot of the other stuff I'm still a little fuzzy on. Like, well, she's going to have to feed the baby mostly. Like, what do? I guess we'll pump some and I'll help there. Like, I don't really know. Maybe it'll all come to me.
Yeah, I think you guys will figure it out. I think just like open communication about what the needs are. I will tell you this, like if you have to have your own thing. I raced better after I had Nadine because I made time for myself, but that time was super intentional. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to take time away, in your case, from your wife, from your baby, I'm going to go make the most of this next hour. And in that, you'll actually have a really great session and you'll build great fitness. But that time is going to have you show up better when you come back to them. If you don't have that time, you're actually all going to show up worse for each other. So I would say like you still need to make sure you're taking care of yourself so then you can show up. And then it's just coordinating the times to do that correctly. That works for her, baby sleeping, she's resting, etc.
On 3 hours of sleep is what I'm afraid of. Yeah. That's I'm like, how am I gonna do it? Yeah. Cool.
It's so funny. All the things we worried about, I look back on that time and go, that wasn't actually such a big deal. You get dad strength, by the way. Like it's a whole you're just excited about life. 3 hours of sleep is no big deal. Because you're so excited about this family you now have and you get to prepare for. And you know, the changing of the diaper and all of that, like I just wish I embraced that time more, knowing it's just a small part of time.
Yeah.
Well,
Natasha, it has been a great joy and honor to get to pry through your life and ask questions and learn more about you. It's brought a lot of joy, a lot of things for me to think about. So I can't always say that for every episode. So I really appreciate it for you letting me do it.
Yeah, appreciate the conversation, Seth. Always such good questions. Appreciate what you're doing. So, and opportunity to get to know you as well. So
thank you. Thank you very much. It is podcasts like these that keep me coming back for more. What a great conversation with Natasha. You know, it's so much fun for me to ask all these questions about their lives, but selfishly asking the ones about parenthood right now at the season of life that I'm in, I think is what gives me the most excitement. I guess that makes sense. I don't know why I'm surprised by that or decided to share that, but that's something that is on my heart and I really appreciate it. We're coming down to the wire for the last couple of episodes here for the season before I do a little bit of a send off as I go to take off some time and come back in the 2026 year. But this is one of the best ones that I've done in quite a while. Really appreciate Natasha taking the time to let me dig deep, especially around some of the sensitive topics about losing her dad and stuff. Obviously, means a lot to me to be able to talk about those things because I've experienced them. And Natasha seems to be doing quite well considering the things that she has gone through. So thank you, Natasha, for taking the time to spend with me. And for all you guys listening, thank you so much for being here. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, comment, do all those things. Helps continue to grow the pod. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.